What is up, everybody? And we are back with another episode of Frenemies. It is Pittsburgh Pirates Day, David. Here we go with the Pirates. This is a tough one. I'm not going to lie to you. This might be 30 out of 30 as far as power rankings go. But we're going to put a show together for you Pirates fans out there because that's what we do, David. And we are going to go at it. The 1909, 1925, 1960, 1971, and 1979 World Series champions. Notice none of those started with a 1980 or a 1990. So we've never seen the Pirates win the World Series, David. And we are not going to see the Pirates win the World Series anytime soon either, my man. So why don't you give us a rundown of the 2020 Pirates as we begin the show today?
So, DJ, it was bad as we thought it was going to be last year. First-year manager Derek Shelton, along with a first-year GM, Ben Cherington, who is the author of The Decline of the Boston Red Sox. I'm going to throw that out there. But, hey, maybe things have changed. I don't want to discourage any Pirates fans. But rough year last year, 19-41, the worst in baseball. And we talked about the Tigers. They had a big problem with pitching. Well, the Pirates had a huge problem with hitting. They were last in runs in baseball, the worst OPS in baseball, the third worst batting average in baseball, third worst in home runs. And they weren't much better at pitching, but they were a little bit better towards the middle of the pack, 19th in ERA in pitching. And, they had trouble winning games, DJ, but especially in the the NL Central, where they were 3-17. And DJ, if I'm not mistaken, those 3 wins came at a pivotal time against your Cubbies. Am I remembering that correctly? Just want to throw that in there. Throw a little salt in the wounds. They found it they needed to. But yeah, 3-17 in the Central, and we could go on and on, DJ, about how bad they were. So I want to switch gears here a little bit. Nobody wants to hear your team dogged on. They did have some bright spots, DJ. Colin Moran had a bust-out year, 297 with 10 home runs and 23 RBIs. And the Pirates were willing to put enough stock in Colin Moran that they traded our boy Josh Bell. So Colin Moran is going to be their first baseman, I'm understanding. Mitch Keller busted out this year, DJ, 291 ERA in limited time, 5 starts. And then the biggest bright spot, it looks to be a superstar in the making with Ke'Bryan Hayes. And DJ, you don't know how much I love this. I'm a huge Charlie Hayes fan. He caught the ball that ended the Yankees World Series drought. His dad was Charlie Hayes, of course, but Ke'Bryan Hayes was known for his glove. We talked about him last year. That he was one of the top prospects with the Pirates, and he came up and hit 376 with 5 home runs. So kudos to him. But super rough year, not a lot of bright spots. I basically just named them. They had a really down year from Josh Bell, which was surprising. And they ended up cutting bait with him and a lot of other players. I'm sure we're going to get into that later. But very disappointing year for the Pittsburgh Pirates.
Yeah, like you were saying, man, Ke'Bryan Hayes was by far the highlight of him coming up. He had 5 bombs and 11 ribbies with a 376 batting average and 442 on base in the 24 games he came up and played. On fire, to say the least, when he came up and played. Unreal. A lot of that was against the Cubs, too. It was very frustrating to see. We're trying to win a division, and we got the Pirates all of a sudden giving us troubles because of this guy. And I was like, you got to be kidding me. But they were 0-3 against the Tigers and 1-3 against the White Sox. So when you're 1-6 combined against those 2 terrible teams, you're going to have a really bad season. So that was not good on the Pirates end. Derek Shelton, the manager, really stepped into a rough spot in his first season managing in 2020. Obviously, with all the crazy stuff that happened and with a bad team like that, he had to kind of wonder to himself a little bit, what am I getting myself into? So as we move along here, we'll try to give you Pirates fans something to look forward to. I don't know how much of that we're actually going to give you. This is definitely a rough team, to say the least. But I'm not going to sit here and dog on them all night because we'll try to stay as positive as we can about this team. But So what are some of the key additions that the Pirates made this offseason to try to make 2021 a little bit better, David?
So DJ, I got a couple of words here real quick. They undoubtedly got worse. Okay, worst record in baseball last year, and it's inarguable that they got worse. And we'll go through their subtractions here in a little bit. But to get back on the bright side here, they made a bunch of trades, which is going to hurt now. But they did bring back some nice prospects. Ben Cherrington went with high end prospects instead of just getting a bunch of prospects and trying hoping they panned out. So he kind of got the high risk, high reward guys. And the only guy that they got that I am familiar with is Miguel Yazor, who came over from the Yankees in the Jameson Taillon deal. And I'm going to be honest, man, I really like this guy. I hated to see him go. He pitched kind of in some garbage time for the Yankees towards the end of the season and honestly looked really good, mid-90s fastball. They also picked up Will Crow in the offseason, and they got the Todd father, Todd Frazier, on a minor league deal. So that's interesting. But my key addition is going to be Miguel Yazor. Hopefully he ends up in that rotation. I'm pulling for him as a Yankee fan, so that's my key addition.
Yeah, Todd Frazier is actually kind of, from what I've been reading recently, he's kind of impressing in camp right now. So maybe he'll sneak in and win a spot somehow. The Todd father, and he's wearing number 99 like he ain't going to make the team, and he's out there impressing all these young guys. So we'll see as far as that goes. Michael Perez, Dustin Fowler, Tyler Anderson from the Giants is my guy. 4-3 last year, 4.37 ERA. Looks like he's penciled in as a number 3 starter. So I guess when you get a number 3 starter on your team, that's maybe your key addition. I don't know, but I agree with the prospects. Will Crow, I'm pretty high on as well. So that was a good pickup on their end. Chase, David Bednar, Luis, like you were talking about, Jose Soriano, Brian Goodwin were also some additions. Nothing major as far as additions go. Is a pretty tough and rough offseason for them. So now let's transition to what they – go ahead, David.
What I was going to say, hey, I don't know if you're familiar with the story about Dustin Fowler. So also a former Yankees prospect, very highly touted. They traded him for Sonny Gray. And what really sucks about Dustin Fowler, he was in his first major league game, DJ, and he was playing in Oakland, and he was going for a foul ball, and there was a electrical box sticking out from the on the side of the dugout, hit his knee full speed, blew his knee out, and, you know, it's pretty close to ended his career. And so, man, I am really pulling for Dustin Fowler. He's a player that you would love, DJ. He's all out all the time, which is why he ended up hitting that electrical box, which why an electrical box is inside of the stadium, I'll never know. Kind of ridiculous, but really pulling for Dustin Fowler. Once a top prospect with the Yankees, so I hope he makes it.
Absolutely. Yeah, good point. I do remember that happening too. Very sad, not a good thing at all that happened. So, David, what are the key losses? And there's a lot of them here. So we'll go through all the guys that have left this team this offseason. What do you got?
So Josh Bell, obviously switch hitting first baseman, who had a couple good years. Joe Musgrove was a big trade. And DJ, I'm going to be honest, I kind of don't get the Joe Musgrove love. Can I just throw that out there? I know he had some big starts towards the end of the year, and I know that the Padres, I guess, are banking on that. I'm not saying I'm hating on Joe Musgrove, but I mean, number 4 starter, DJ, on a good team. Would you agree with that? And so I don't know. I just didn't get the love for it. Trevor Williams, now a Cubby, and Derek Holland is gone, and then the Yankees got Jameson Taillon in a trade as well. And, man, he's looked really good, DJ, really good. Of course, I mean, that's 1 inning, but he looked nasty. So I'm getting more and more excited about that. But, you know, Josh Bell, the big bopper, that hurts. That really hurts. Even though he had a really terrible year last year, I think he hit about 220. But, again, their lineup suffered last year. They need a guy like Josh Bell, and so that's going to hurt.
Yeah, Josh Bell is definitely the loss that's going to hurt them the most. He had 86 bombs and 309 ribbies in his career at the Pirates over 5 years, which is very impressive. Hit 261 with 496 hits for the Pirates. So definitely tough to see him go. 90 ribbies in 2017, 116 ribbies in 2019 for him. a 2019 All-Star as well. He is out the door. Jameson Taillon is a stud. If he comes back healthy for the Yankees, they got a steal there. Nick Turley is also gone to the A's. They just lost a ton of guys. Michael Del Pozo to the Twins as well. So Nick Birdie is a Downers Grove South High School guy from 5 minutes away from our high school. He is now with the Padres as well, so he is gone as well. So Guillermo Heredia to the Mets, JT Riddle to the Twins. They've lost a ton of guys this offseason and are trying, like you said, to rebuild through many prospects that they are hoping that will help solidify the future of the Pirates. So the 2021 projected lineup, David, what do you got, bud, for their offense?
So we have Adam Frazier. He's a nice player, not a star by any means, but a good player. Brian Hayes, we've talked about him. He's definitely a rising star. Colin Moran, great season last year. Again, kind of a bust-out season, had 10 home runs. Then you got Brian Reynolds, man. I'm going to be honest. He was on the trading block, and he is somebody that I wouldn't have cared to see the Yankees get. I think he's very underrated, had a terrible year last year, but I really like Brian Reynolds. Then you got Gregory Polanco. What happened to that dude, DJ? Let's just park right there for a minute. I'm going to try to pull up his stats here real quick.
Don't even bother pulling his stats up because you're just going to dog him after you see him. He signed a 5-year, $35 million contract, David. He's the highest paid Pirate by far. And he was good in 2018. He was bad in 2019 and 2020. He is eating up half of the salary of the Pittsburgh Pirates almost by himself. He hit 153 last year. I do not get it.
I don't either. That's terrible. But I guess, like you said, he's their highest paid player. So they've got to hope that he turns it around. And I know they were talking about going into last year that if he had a good year, they want to trade him. I think he was injured, if I'm not mistaken, in 2019 and just hasn't been able to come back around. But they got him penciled in once again. Anthony Alford, they have penciled in right field. Jacob Stallings is the catcher. And Kevin Newman is who I have written down as the shortstop. So, again, not a lot to love there. Outside of Brian Hayes, it's going to be a long year in Pittsburgh. I'm sorry, it just is. But you do got Brian Hayes to watch, and I would make the most of that while you can.
Yeah, this is a tough lineup, David. There's no doubt about it. It's hard to find a lot of positives out of here. I mean, Brian Reynolds, like you said, was definitely a stud 2 years ago, I believe. He had a really good year. Colin Moran is a baller. I kind of like him. Brian Hayes is an absolute stud. I just don't like when you get to the 6, 7, 8, 9 hitters in that lineup with the pitcher hitting. Ooh, that's pretty rough. So not much help on the bench with Michael Perez, Eric Gonzalez, Phillip Evans, Todd Frazier, and Dustin Fowler. So not very well-rounded offense. But talk a little bit now, David, about their pitching and the pitching staff.
So that's been revamped, as we talked about. They really lost 3/5 of their rotation last year. So Mitch Keller is going to be their ace going in. Again, last year, 2.91 ERA in 5 starts. Then you got Chad Kuhl, who, again, not a bad pitcher, 2-3, 4.27 last year. Tyler Anderson, we talked about a little bit. He's going to be their number 3. Stephen Brault. Last year, 1-3 with a 3.38 ERA in 10 starts. And so, there's something to like there. And then you got JT Brubacher coming in at the number 5 starter, also 1-3 last year with a 4.94. Pretty much all these guys still in their 20s. Some good ERAs last year. And so if you have anything at all to hope in, it's this rotation. And I know that's hard to believe because most people have never heard of these guys. But they do have some good arms. Then you got Will Crow coming on, Miguel Yazor, who could make some noise. And so if I'm a Pirates fan, I'm going to try to pay attention to that pitching.
Yeah, I like Mitch Keller a lot. I really do. From everything I've seen him pitch, I think he did a really good job last year. Had an awesome season as far as ERA goes and everything. He had a 2.91 ERA Brault had a 3.38 ERA as well, 55 Ks in 39 and 2/3 of an inning. So he can strike some people out from the left-hand side. Big time K guy. So they go lefty, righty, righty in that rotation there. Richard Rodriguez is their closer. Michael Feliz, Kyle Crick, Carson Fulmer, and David Bernard are also down in that bullpen. Whew, that's rough. And David, not to bring up Felipe Vasquez, who was their former closer, who is now in prison for a lot of very bad things that he did. And may he rot in prison for what he did, obviously. But it's just kind of a little crazy stat here for you. Felipe and and Gregory Polanco, David, make up exactly 50% of the Pirates' payroll between those two guys. They are literally paying him in prison still, David. I don't know how that even works, to be honest with you. I mean, I guess he still collects his salary somehow. He's got something set up to where he can still get it, but they are still paying that man a lot of money to sit in prison, and half of their salary is going to those two players. So that is not a good situation to be stuck in right now for the Pirates. I'm very sure that they're wanting to cut ties very quickly, obviously with the one in prison and even Polanco, to be honest with you, and try to spend some money on some other guys that may be up and coming in the future. So this is not a program that is in very good shape right now, but hopefully they can start to get out of the cellar a little bit here. So
DJ,
yep, go ahead, buddy.
Back to Vasquez. You got to feel sorry for the Pirates in this. If you'll remember, he was a big trade chip that they had down the stretch there a couple years ago, and right in the middle of when the trade deadline was about ready to happen, all that stuff comes out, and man, it just makes you feel sorry for the Pirates. And then, like you said, they signed Polanco at one point, a pretty good young player, and he just falls off the map. So the Pirates, man, they just seem to be cursed for whatever reason. I mean, it's sad.
It really is, man. They are not in a good spot, like I just said. But however, let's try to go a little positive here, David. So what are some of the team strengths of the Pirates that you got written down for this 2021 team?
Ke'Bryan Hayes. He's the only. I'm sorry. He's the only strength. I didn't realize Stephen Brault, I guess, had all those strikeouts. So, I mean, that's pretty cool. 39 innings, 55 strikeouts. That's pretty cool. But Ke'Bryan Hayes, man, hey, if you're a Pirates fan, you have a young superstar in the making. This is the building block of your team. He's the strength of your team right now. And so hang your hat on that. But honestly, that's about it, DJ.
Yeah, I'm going to agree with you and throw Mitch Keller in there too. I am a big fan of his. I think he's going to be a really good pitcher for them for years to come. Hopefully as a guy that can stick with them, kind of like Garrett Cole did for a long time. Hopefully he can be that guy for the Pirates, kind of a guy that sticks around and that the Pirates fans have to root for, that'll stick around for a long time. But man, we could point in 15 different directions here, but what do you got for their main weakness, David?
So again, we could have went a lot of different directions, but I don't like the lack of power in their offense. They don't, if you look down that lineup, it's mostly guys that are 10, 15 homer guys. There's no obvious 30 home run guy. And, home runs and strikeouts, that's where baseball is right now. And the Pirates have no home run guys. And so, to be honest with you, you're going to watch a lot of boring games. I hate to say it. So I'm going to go with the lack of power as their biggest weakness.
And I'm going to go with the bullpen. I don't normally go this route, but that bullpen is atrocious. Let's just be honest. Those guys, nothing against those guys personally. I don't really like it at all. I think it's a very bad bullpen. I don't hate Richard Rodriguez very much as their closer, but I just don't think he'll have very many games to close because the Pirates just aren't going to have that many opportunities to win. So,
DJ, last year they were last in the league in saves. They only had 6 saves all year. 6 saves out of 60 games. So, I can totally understand why you'd go through bullpen right there.
Yikes. So, yeah, that's pretty crazy, man. What do you got for some position battles going on the Pirates 2021 team?
Well, it goes back to the rotation. I mean, they do have a pretty good 5, but this is the year they're going to need more than 5 starters, DJ. And so they've gotten some interesting arms. We've talked about those a little bit. So I'm going to go with the rotation as a position battle.
Okay, I am going to go with that shortstop position. We got Kevin Newman there, who hit who hit 1 home run, 10 ribbies, 224 last year. He's a 278 career hitter. He's penciled in right now as a starter. You got Eric Gonzalez on the bench, who's a little player there. 3 bombs, 20 ribbies, 227 last year. A 250 hitter with a 283 on base for his career. You got those 2 guys, and then you got Cole Tucker, David. Cole Tucker's a little bit of a up and comer, so to speak, for the Pirates here. He's got great hair, as they say. Got a big flow going on. He's 23 years old. He's dating a actress, Vanessa Hudgens, who's like 10 years older than him. I don't know what she sees in his career 215 batting average, but something's obviously going right for him there. 3 bombs and 21 ribbies also in his career. So he's actually been given the chance in spring training here to win that job. So I think the shortstop spot is up for grabs, no doubt. And if Cole Tucker can come in there, he's kind of and I wanted to talk about him for just a second, because he's one of those guys that reminds me a little bit of Hunter Pence. And I don't call him Hunter Pence at all. I think Hunter Pence had a great career. But he's just real long and wiry, and he's got the hair, and he's just kind of all over the place, and he's a little out of control at times. And that's exactly how he was as a player. And I don't think he's going to amount to the career that he came by any means, but similar players. He's, I believe, 6'7", if I'm not mistaken, and he's going to be a shortstop. So that's a tall shortstop, man. I don't know.
Because I think last year they played him in center field, if I'm not mistaken. So he must be a heck of an athlete to be 6'7" and trying to play some shortstop. So more power to him, I guess.
You got that right, man. We'll see how that shortstop position rolls out here. That's definitely one to keep an eye on, Pirates fans, as you're watching these spring training games and what they're going to do at the shortstop position. So what do you got for the prospects, David? This is kind of a positive note here. We can go on a little bit. You got any guys that you see down the road here that are going to help these Pirates in the future?
So the Pirates last year did not possess a good farm system. Kudos to Ben Cherington selling off what he had. Their system's kind of rising, but still just kind of in the middle of the pack. So MLB has them ranked at 16th with 4 top 100 prospects. And the prospect that's the most interesting to me is a shortstop. His name is O'Neal Cruz, and he's a couple years away. But they had quotes from scouts saying he could be a superstar hitter. He came over in the Tony Watson trade. 6'7", another 6'7" shortstop, 200.
Whoa.
Big thumper, too. Big stick. So keep an eye out for O'Neal Cruz, man. I am pulling hard for the Pirates to make a turnaround. I think it's good for baseball. It's good for our area when that happens. And so they're the closest stadium that I have to me, or second closest. I guess Cincinnati is probably a little bit closer. So I would love to see the Pirates get competitive so I can go watch a game.
O'Neal Cruz, the man with 2 last names, is going to be the future shortstop of the Pirates. I've heard a lot of good things about him. That's a really good call on him. He's been one of the guys I've heard a lot about this spring for being a stud that's going to come up very soon here. So very good call on that. I'm going to go with the Pirates, first of all, have like the 13th to 16th overall ranked system. So they're about the middle of the pack here, which is kind of rough when you're thinking from a perspective of where they're at right now. You hope they'd be a little higher than that, but they're kind of middle of the pack. At least they're not in the 20s or 30s, the last, kind of they're number 30 overall as a team. At least their prospects aren't number 30 overall. So they're close, but I'm going with their number 7 prospect overall, Travis Swaggerty. What a name, David. Who would not want that for a last name? An MLB player named Swaggerty. You already have a nickname in Swaggy or Swag or whatever you want to get called. How cool is that? I would take that nickname all day, any day. So he's a lefty bat, lefty thrower, 2018 first-round pick for the Pirates, 10th overall. He's 23 years old. He has an ETA this year. We may see him this year. There's a lot of indication he may come up and play. He's 5'11", 200 pounds. In 2019, he had a 347 on base with 9 bombs and 40 ribbies and 121 hits in a long season in the minors. Swaggy is a great fielder with a plus arm and is a good base runner. Saying he is possibly a future Gold Glove Award winner. So he projects that high defensively. So if you see him come up this year, David, check out that defense. I guess it's really good. And I saw him swing a lot here too in the last few days. It's a pretty sweet lefty swing as well. So we'll see if old Swag makes it up here this year and helps out the Pirates a little bit. But man, what a cool name. I wish I had that name. So David, man, the Pirates have a long history in our time of being very good when we were kids. They had a nice stretch there of about 10 years where they were really competitive. So what's your favorite memory of the Pirates organization over all the years?
So DJ, I'm going off the radar right here. I'm going back to 6th grade. So my 6th grade year would have been about 92, right in that area somewhere. And a girl in my class was a huge baseball card collector. Her name was Gina Chanel, and her mom is still to this day one of my kids' teachers. She's a Spanish teacher. She's a Hispanic lady. But what I remember was you could bring in any Pirates player, Mike LaValliere, Jose Lind, anybody, and trade her out of like Ken Griffey Jr. or whoever. And so I spent my 6th grade year opening up those Topps packs, you know, that there was some Pirates guys in there, so I could go pawn them off on her and get some. And we did. So that's one of my favorite memories of the Pirates. Those were some good teams, DJ. Doug Drabeck, we talked about this off air a little bit. Barry Bonds, Jeff King had a nice career playing second base. There's a nice few years there. Andy Van Slyke, everybody loved Andy Van Slyke. Bobby Bonilla was there for several years and a great player. And we talked about that 92 team, DJ, that made the playoffs, the last one that made the playoffs, and did not realize some of the players that were on that team. Danny Jackson, Zane Smith, Denny Nagel.
Kirk Gibson.
Kirk Gibson. Who knew he was on the bench on one of those teams? He always found his way to the playoffs somehow. Tim Wakefield. I had forgotten that Tim Wakefield was a Pirate. So those are just some good memories that I have of the Pirates. Like I said, it's been a while. They haven't been good in a while, but those were some good memories.
No doubt, man. You're ripping off the girls of all their Ken Griffey Juniors. Bob Walk. Oh, he's a Pirate. Bob Walk. Yep. Let's go get Ken Griffey.
She would, man. I'm not joking. She would. I'm going to have to tell her to watch this podcast and it'll sell us all out. But anyway, you can walk in there. And I remember one time I had a Barry Bonds rookie card and I knew better than to let that thing go. I still have it to this day, to be honest with you. It's the old Topps one with the wood outline background. I think about 87 or 86.
Oh, yeah, 87. Yep.
I still have it. So I knew better than to let that one go. But all my Mike LaVallieres and Bob Walk and Zane Smiths, oh yeah, they were getting packaged in a deal for a Ken Griffey Jr.
That is awesome, man. So the 1992 Pirates is where I'm going with this. Bonds, Van Slyke, with the flair. And that game against the Braves particularly, David, in the Game 7 of the National League Championship Series, I will always remember this play of Sid Bream rounding third and Barry Bonds in left field. Now, the one knock on Barry Bonds, especially in the Pirates days, was the arm on Bonds. Now, Bream is not the fastest of runners, obviously, and Bonds had a great shot of throwing him out at the plate and did not do it and was not really – I mean, it was very close, no doubt, but it was up the line, the first base line a little bit, an off throw, not even close. And Bonds got criticized a lot for his throwing arm, and Barry Bonds on that team as well. One of the things that kind of led to him taking steroids years later was a lot of jealousy he had towards other players that he either played with or was looking at. And Barry Bonds was very jealous of Andy Van Slyke over those years. I'm currently reading a book right now on Barry Bonds, and it's amazing to see that they just did not see eye to eye very much on those teams. They got along, so to speak, just to be teammates, but There were times where they wanted to fight each other, and Bonds was very jealous of him, saying Andy Van Slyke should be the man. I'm the man of this team, blah, 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 and very jealous that he was getting all that love. Andy Van Slyke was a great ball player, no doubt, and was an awesome center fielder. And Bonds was mad. He thought he should be the center fielder. So they were fighting over that as well. But interesting to see all those things that were going on back in those Pirates days. But man, what a great team that was in '92. The last, like you mentioned, the last team to make the playoffs. And I did not know until we talked off air that Bobby Bonilla was not on the '92 team. He was a little bit before that. By then, he might have been with the Mets, collecting that 60-year contract he's currently on right now. So, but yeah, that '92 team is definitely by far my favorite memory, and just a great team, no doubt. And hopefully soon, not at the Cubs' expense, obviously, but hopefully soon the Pirates will get back in the playoffs and get those good Pittsburgh fans something to cheer about there. So speaking of Pittsburgh fans, David, let's transition to the stadiums now. Three Rivers Stadium was 1970 to 2000. Interested to see if you have gone to that one. And I know for a fact the current one, PNC Park. I will go ahead and start this one real quick. I have not been to Three Rivers. I looked like a dump to me. But PNC, man, top 5 stadium in my book by far of everything I've gone to so far, and I'm about halfway there. I loved it. We actually went to this one together, David. Our wives and us, we the 4 of us went to Pittsburgh, had a really good weekend, really good time, and checked this one out. Some of the things that stuck out with me was looking over home plate when we were sitting up high, seeing the city, the yellow bridges, the Roberto Clemente statues, the museum off campus that was closed that we didn't get to go to. That was a bummer. It's top 5, like I said. So what did you think of it overall?
Yeah, man. I love everything that you said. I totally agree with. I love the fact that it's right on the river. I thought that was really cool. The statues and things outside. We tried on that Roberto Clemente museum, didn't we, DJ? Drove around up there in the neighborhood looking for it. But I actually even liked the place we ate that day. If you'll remember, it was just kind of in a neighborhood pretty close to the stadium. So I'm pretty high on that one as well. I definitely want to make it back. And DJ, I've got to tell you something crazy. So Charleston is about a 2.5, 3-hour drive. And I actually know a guy who has season tickets to the Pirates, even through the bad years. That's a true fan. So Steve Joseph, you're the true fan. You're the GOAT, man, in my book. All through last year, he was posting, not last year, 2 years ago, posting pictures going up to the stadium with those season tickets. And to hang in there that long, man, that's awesome. So, but yeah, what a great place to watch a ball game, man. And like I said, I want to see the Pirates get back to their winning ways. A lot of people should be able to appreciate that stadium, pack it out. So I'd like to see the Pirates make it back for sure.
Yep, I absolutely loved it. It was a lot of fun going with you, man, and that was a blast when we went to actually. It was on your birthday we went to, which made it a lot more fun too. That we got to hang out over your birthday weekend, and we are going to Cleveland this year, David.
Oh, yeah.
And that's going to be a lot of fun over Labor Day weekend. So, my trivia question, I already know you're going to get because you already kind of talked about them already, and I'm bummed out because I should have came up with something better. But that 1992 play where Sid Bream rounded third, headed home, who caught the ball and missed the tag for the Pirates? Who was the catcher?
Spanky LaValliere. Oh, yeah. This is a shout out to Spanky Dave Lowe for you guys from Mount Pleasant that'll be watching this. We got a guy named Dave Lowe who is at our church. He's older than me, one of my really good friends, and his nickname is Spanky, and he is shaped exactly like Mike LaValliere. So shout out to Spanky.
Awesome. Does he have the mustache like him too?
He has the mustache.
Oh, that's great. You keep that thing going, man. That's awesome.
DJ, back to mustache. What happened to the stash? Now, most people, I don't know if they remember that, because that was his nickname. When I got there, I didn't even know his DJ's name. It was Stash. That's what your name was. So where did the stash go? What happened?
Well, I arrived at college with the stash. I was mad because I had the goatee and they made me shave that. And then I'm like, out of kind of rebel stage, I was like, well, if they're gonna let me have a mustache, I'm gonna have the most ridiculous mustache you can possibly ever have. So that thing was just so thick, and it had the gap right here. And of course, those Southern boys called me Stash from the first day they saw me, and it was the ugliest mustache you will ever see in your entire life. I wore it for about the first year there. Realized that I had no shot at picking up a girl if I had that mustache, so I shaved it completely off and went just completely skin while I was at college and just try to make it through there. And I've had this little funky thing ever since college got over. But yeah, it's pretty legendary. I've got many pictures and photos of me having that mustache. I don't know why. Like I don't have very many pictures of my sophomore, junior, senior, even earlier years of, but I've got a ton of pictures of me with that mustache for some reason, and that thing's legendary. And I don't know if I'm quite in the Michael Evalier stage as far as mustaches goes. I don't know if I'm that good, but it was pretty thick, man. I liked it a lot.
DJ, you bring back the stash. I'll cut myself into a stash. We can embarrass our wives the whole weekend. It'll be awesome.
I am all for embarrassing our wives in any way, shape, or form that we can. We can run around Cleveland with the nastiest mustaches ever. It'll be a great time, no doubt.
Absolutely.
So what
DJ,
do you got for trivia for me, man? I want this.
Since you can't hit baseballs, I'm throwing you a big old softball right here, all right? If you don't get this, I disown you, and we're not friends anymore. Let's see here. I was the starting catcher from 1996 until 2004. I finished third in Rookie of the Year voting and made 3 All-Star teams. Traded in 2004 for Arthur Rhodes and Mark Redmond. Who am I?
Jason Kendall.
Man, I was worried you were going to miss that one, DJ, because if you had, like I said, all bets would have been off. He was the kind of the face of the franchise.
Yeah.
Those few years. And they had some decent teams in there. Obviously not playoff worthy teams, but they were in the mix a little bit. But Jason Kendall was a good player.
Jason Kendall, yeah.
Yeah. He wasn't much of a home run hitter, but put the bat on the ball and scrappy player. I always liked some Jason Kendall.
Oh, I love Jason Kendall, man. I can have 9 Jason Kendalls running around on the field, and I'd be happy with that, no doubt. That guy was a stud, man. Absolute stud. So, David, projected finish for the Pirates.
It's going to be bad, guys. I hate to say it. 19-41 last year. I think we've come to the conclusion that the Pirates definitely got worse. So I think this could be a historically bad season, DJ. Historically bad. Could this be 50-something and whatever team? I think it absolutely could be a 100-loss team for sure. Yes. So going to be a rough year, but hopefully Ben Cherington gets it back together. They got the farm system headed the right direction. So I don't think there's any way they end up anywhere but last.
This is the biggest lock that I have of any team in any division in any spot. They're going to finish 5th, unfortunately. Like you said, they will get over 100 losses, unfortunately, too. That's going to happen. It'd be interesting to see what they do with this whole team throughout the whole season, kind of what they do with prospects, what they do with the trade deadline. It'll be interesting to kind of see where they go from here, really, so to speak, to try to get better for the future. But definitely a last place finish. So we have no former teammates that were Pirates fans, David. I don't really know any Pirates fans, so I got nobody to really give a shout out here to. You've given a few shout outs throughout the episode. Is there anybody else you want to give a little love to? I know, the girl you stole all the baseball cards from, little Michael Jr. there, and who else you got there?
Gina Schnell, Steve Joseph, the GOAT. I'm sure there's a few other Pirates fans that I know, but I can't really think of any. At one point, the Pirates farm team was right here in Charleston, and that was awesome. I don't know why they got away from that. So it went from the Pirates to the Mariners. Really strange, but we got to see a lot of the good players that the Pirates have come up. Starlin Marte came through here. I don't remember Garrett Cole coming through here, to be honest with you. I was trying to think of that earlier. I don't remember it if he did, if he was here. He wasn't here very long, but Gregory Polanco came through here, to be honest with you. They had a catcher there a while back that was their first-round draft pick that didn't make it, but he had a lot of buzz here. They had a lot of pretty much all their big prospects came through Charleston. And I do miss that because you could kind of follow them as they go. But other than that, DJ, I can't think of very many Pirates fans, unfortunately.
Well, I hear you, man. And so this will be our big test, David. So our Reds podcast has over 200 views. By the way, subscribe to our Frenemies podcast, please. Hit that button for us. The Royals got up to about 175 views. If our Pirates podcast gets over 100 views, David, I think that'll officially show that we've arrived, man. If 100 people want to watch us talk about the Pirates, then we're doing something, man. So it'll be very interesting to see where this one goes, how well this one does. And Pirates fans, it's gonna be a rough 2021 for you. Buckle up, but hopefully in the future, there's many good things for you guys to come. So great ballpark, very cool city, great fans. Wish them nothing but the best. So David, unless there's anything else you got to add, jump on here with anything. We are done with this Pirates preview. Congratulations on being in the cellar. You know who will be at the very top of this division, though. You got that right. It's this team right here. It's this team right here. So Pirates, don't get in our way of that this year. It seems like we struggle with you guys every single season. I'm sick and tired of it. We cannot go 500 against you guys. We got to sweep you guys. We have so much trouble beating the Pirates for some reason. So if the Cubs can somewhat go like 19-0 against the Pirates like they should, I like their chances. If we go about 8-10 against them, we're in some trouble. So we'll see what happens. All right. So with that, we will sign off. Don't forget to subscribe and have a great night, everybody.
See you guys.